Hello, welcome back to the YouTube channel of Bethel Evangelical Free Church Hanley. I'm Pastor Gervais Charney. This is another historic church in Leicestershire. This is the church at Harby, St Mary's. It has its origins around about 1200, so late 12th, early 13th century, although what we see today is largely the product of the 14th and 15th centuries. There was a lot of money around here at the time because of wool and other agricultural produce. It's been much restored, much Victorianised. You can see they've taken off the wall plaster, always a bad idea, particularly with the darker coloured stone. We do have the usual chancel arch. You can see above the chancel arch we've got the royal arms, and they are George II, and just above there is the text. Just shift this up very slightly. Just above the text, "Fear God, honour the King," which of course is from 1 Peter, and in context it's to do with the rebellions against him, particularly because the Jacobites, who got all the way down to Derby before turning around and getting scared. And of course, an important thing to remember with the Jacobites is that it's not Scotland versus England. It's a war about the succession to the English crown, who should be king of England and Scotland. It's not about independence for anybody. It's about who has the crown. So we'll have a look around and see what we can see. As usual, then we begin at the west end again, back to the tower arch. The font is not here. You can probably just about see it there in the north aisle. It's been moved to form a baptistry there. The font there is 14th century. We shall see it shortly. So we proceed up, because of course we've got the doors either side, and so there's this cross passage, as it were, between the pews. All very Victorian. Restoration. There was work done in 1903 when the organ chamber was built there on the on the south east, at the end of the south aisle. So down to the north aisle we have the font. You can see it's a tub type. It's been restored in 1606. You can see the date there, 1606. But this is not a 1606 font. This is a 14th century one. It's a tub. Another reminder that baptism in the Middle Ages was by immersion of infants. You'd take the child and you'd dunk them under water, and I think they changed the water once a month. It was holy water. It was consecrated and blessed. There were superstitions. People would try and pinch some to do superstitious things with, and so fonts had locks on them. Got a very nice, probably 17th century cover there. Mother's Union banner, only a small one in this case. That's a modern Eucharistic banner, and down we can see how the big windows are reflective of the 15th century, really. So, and there's the organ in there, organ chamber. The organ is actually listed, would you believe it, because it's a very important instrument. So listing text there. Can I read it from here? And the answer is no. But here we have a memorial to the Reverend Manners Octavius Norman. Now, Manners is the family name of the Dukes of Rutland, and that tells us he's related to the Dukes of Rutland, and they're the big local land, and even today they're based at Belvoir Castle. And Reverend Manners Octavius Norman was rector here for 46 years, from 1853 to 1899, and during his incumbency he built new schools and a schoolhouse, the house of the schoolmaster. The church and chancel were restored, new organ, bells rehung, Queen Victoria Jubilee bell. He does an awful lot. Of course, it helps being from a very rich family. But what they did, of course, is that they used the wealth to benefit the people. And a lot of this stuff will be done at their own expense. Yes, so it's the organ. The organ dates from 1808. apparently. And that's why it's important, because not a lot of organs that old. There's the pulpit, and here we are in the chancel. No stained glass in the east window, you'll notice. Quite common around here not to. Probably a good idea given the stonework. And there we have the piscina. Put a shelf in there, and it's now got that kneeler for remembrance, and we will remember them. And a fairly plain reredos, that is the monogram for Jesus. I know it looks like IHS, it isn't, it's yes, because it's Greek, the first three letters of Jesus in Greek. Some people think, oh, it's the Jesuits. Yes, the Jesuits use the emblem, so do a lot of people. It's a very old emblem. One of the old bench ends survives here. It's been turned into a seat. So let's have a look west now, and you can just see there, fairly plain interior, but very good. And yeah, benefited, of course, from the connection with the Manners family, because the Dukes of Rutland, who are still one of the wealthiest families in the British aristocracy, which is quite good given that an 18th century representative almost completely destroyed them. This is the Heroes' Corner. This is called the War Memorial, here known as the Heroes' Corner, 1914 to 19, offered upon the altar of the nations and the names. Because of course the whole thing is that the way that the Great War is understood, even 1919, is understood, yes, there's a great deal of suffering, but this has happened to build a better world. And it's only when the better world doesn't actually happen the way that we would want it to happen that you get dissatisfaction, and the modern narrative of the Great War as a massive, massive waste comes in. But the idea it's a massive waste because it didn't accomplish the new world of peace and prosperity and tranquility for all. So remember that when it comes to the narrative about the First World War. So there we go, that's the inside. Here we go outside. They are mowing the lawn, so there'll be a little bit of racket in the background. But there we go, can't help that. Needs to be done. And so here we are outside at Harby. You can see a very typical church building, chancel, nave, tower. The tower up here behind me. Quite pointy tower. And it's very typical of the area. This ironstone with originally leaded roof. Of course the lead's been pinched and replaced with material that has no scrap value whatsoever, because that's what the insurance insists upon. Because unfortunately criminals come back and steal things and they ruin it for everybody. I won't say any more on that subject, but anyway, so that's to the outside. We'll have a little bit of a look around. It's getting a bit cloudy, but we're on the north side here, so it's a little bit the sun is in the wrong place, sun is back there, so we'll have a look around to the south side. Right, and so before the lawnmower starts up again, just finished, and yeah, so the older bit and the newer bit, but 1903 there, so I guess lawnmower. So there we have it, a little bit of excitement involving sheep and St Mary's, Harby. Well, I hope in spite of some of the confusion, enjoyed the video, and God bless you and keep you until next time.